prices do not always rise where the spotlight shines. Sometimes the biggest opportunities stay ignored until the market suddenly notices. Diamonds built the headlines, rubies built the legends, emeralds built the prestige. But across the gemstone world, a different group of stones has been quietly gaining momentum through tighter supply, stronger collector demand, changing luxury tastes, and values many experts believe still have room to climb. Some come from a single mine, some are misunderstood, some are so rare that most buyers never even hear their names until prices move. By late 2026, several of these overlooked gemstones may no longer be considered bargains. This countdown reveals 10 stones positioned where scarcity, beauty, and market timing begin to meet. And the first one starts in a place many viewers would never expect. Number 10, ranked 10th, Montana Sapphire, the American stone, quietly gaining respect. Some of the smartest opportunities in the gemstone world do not come from distant legendary mines or famous auction houses. Sometimes they emerge from places few viewers expect. In 2026, one of the most overlooked names in the market may be hiding in the mountains of the American West. Montana Sapphire earns the number 10 spot because it breaks one of the oldest assumptions in gemstones, that premium sapphires must come from overseas. Found in the rivers and deposits of Montana, these sapphires are known for something very different from the deep royal blues of older traditions. Many display subtle steel blue, teal, green blue, silver, and shifting twilight tones that feel modern, elegant, and distinctly natural. Under daylight, some appear cool and crisp. Under warm indoor light, the color can soften into something almost smoky and mysterious. That unusual personality is exactly why demand has been changing. For years, Montana Sapphire lived in the shadow of larger global names. Collectors often chase stones with stronger historical branding, but markets evolve. Buyers in the United States increasingly value traceable origin, ethical sourcing, durability, and stones that feel personal rather than mass marketed. Montana Sapphire fits that shift almost perfectly. It also helps that sapphire remains one of the most practical luxury gemstones in jewelry. Strong hardness, everyday wearability, and long-term appeal make it easier to trust than softer stones that require constant caution. When that durability is paired with a domestic American origin, the story becomes stronger. Another factor quietly supporting prices is customization. Independent jewelers and bespoke designers have shown growing interest in Montana Sapphire because no two stones look exactly alike. Many pieces carry subtle tones impossible to duplicate in factory-style jewelry. That uniqueness appeals to buyers who want sophistication without looking like everyone else. This is not a gemstone built on hype. It is built on quiet credibility, and that often matters more in the long run. While louder names capture headlines, Montana Sapphire continues gaining respect among people who actually buy, design, and collect fine jewelry. That combination has historically mattered far more than internet noise. By late 2026, the market may look back at these understated American sapphires and realize they were undervalued for far longer than expected. And if number 10 already carries this much hidden momentum, the next gemstone moves into a category with even more fire, both visually and financially. Ranked 9th, Demantoid Garnet, the Forgotten Fire. Many buyers never saw coming. Brilliance is usually associated with diamonds. Yet one of the most dazzling natural gemstones on Earth has spent years sitting outside mainstream attention. Demantoid Garnet claims the 9th position because few stones create this level of visual impact while remaining comparatively overlooked by the wider market. First discovered in the Ural Mountains of Russia during the 19th century, Demantoid quickly earned admiration among elite jewelers for a simple reason: light performance. The finest examples can release flashes of spectral color so vivid that even experienced buyers pause when the stone moves. Reds, greens, yellows, and tiny bursts of rainbow fire can appear in a single turn. That phenomenon matters more than many realize. Modern buyers increasingly respond to what a gemstone does visually, not just what name appears on a certificate. Stones that command attention in person often outperform expectations over time. Demantoid possesses that rare advantage naturally. Another reason this category deserves attention is scarcity at quality levels. Fine stones with strong color, high clarity, and lively brilliance are not abundant. Larger sizes become especially difficult to source, which creates pressure whenever collector interest rises. Then there is the detail specialist often mentioned first, the famous horsetail inclusion. Inside certain Russian origin stones, delicate golden fibers radiate through the crystal like fine strands of light. In many gems, inclusions lower appeal. In Demantoid, this particular internal signature can increase desirability because it helps confirm classic origin and adds individuality impossible to manufacture. That combination is unusual. Beauty outside, character inside. For years, broader attention remained focused on better-known luxury categories. Garnet, as a family name, also caused many casual buyers to underestimate this stone, assuming all garnets occupy the same tier. Serious collectors know better. Demantoid exists in a very different conversation from common commercial garnet. Jewelry tastes may also be shifting in its favor. Buyers increasingly want conversation stones, pieces that prompt the question, "What is that?" Demantoid delivers exactly that response while offering genuine historic pedigree. Late 2026 could reward stones that combine rarity, story, and visible wow factor. Demantoid checks all three boxes without depending on marketing hype. It has the sparkle many viewers expect from far more expensive names, the history luxury buyers respect, and the scarcity markets eventually notice. The next gemstone, however, moves away from old-world elegance and into a modern category that collectors began tracking quietly, long before the public paid attention. Ranked 8th, Mahenge spinel, the insider stone, the public still barely knows. While mainstream buyers continue chasing the same familiar names, a quieter movement has been unfolding among serious collectors. Some of the most informed eyes in the gemstone world have been watching a vivid pink stone from East Africa, and doing so with growing interest. Mahenge spinel takes the 8th position because it represents one of the clearest gaps between collector awareness and public recognition. Named after the Mahenge region of Tanzania, this spinel became known for colors that can feel almost unreal at first glance. Fine examples display electric neon pink, hot rose, red pink, and glowing raspberry tones that remain lively even in lower light. Many gemstones look impressive only under ideal conditions. Mahenge spinel often appears radiant almost anywhere. That consistency matters in jewelry. A stone that performs in restaurants, offices, evening light, and daylight creates stronger emotional impact for buyers. It does not need explanation. It simply works. For decades, spinel as a category lived in the shadow of ruby and sapphire. Many consumers barely recognize the name, despite spinel appearing in famous historic jewels for centuries. That long misunderstanding created opportunity. Once buyers learned that spinel offers strong durability, vibrant color, and genuine rarity, attention began to shift. Mahenge material accelerated that change. Collectors prize the finest stones because high saturation combined with brightness is not easy to find. Larger clean pieces become rarer quickly, especially when color remains intense. As supply of premium material tightens, interest tends to concentrate around standout origins, and Mahenge carries that prestige. Another powerful advantage is modern taste. Luxury buyers increasingly favor stones that feel fresh rather than predictable. A classic ruby is admired. A glowing Mahenge spinel often feels discovered. That emotional difference can drive demand faster than many expect. It also photographs exceptionally well, a factor previous generations never had to consider. In a visual culture shaped by screens, gemstones that retain life and punch on camera gain hidden commercial strength. Mahenge spinel does exactly that. Yet despite all these advantages, the wider public still knows surprisingly little about it. That disconnect between real desirability and broad awareness is often where undervaluation begins. By late 2026, stones with elite color, shrinking availability, and rising recognition may not remain overlooked for long. Mahenge spinel sits squarely in that category, admired quietly now, potentially chased more openly later. The next entry shifts from modern collector buzz to something governed by an even harsher force than popularity. Geography itself, ranked 7th, Tanzanite, a market defined by time, not trend. Very few gemstones come with a built-in deadline. Tanzanite ranks 7th because its story is not driven primarily by fashion, advertising, or temporary hype. It is driven by a reality no market can negotiate with. One known commercial source, one geographic origin, and a finite amount of premium material left to recover. Found near Mount Kilimanjaro in Tanzania, Tanzanite entered the global jewelry scene only in the late 20th century, making it remarkably young compared with many classic gemstones. Yet, in just a few decades, it built recognition that older stones took centuries to earn. The reason becomes obvious the moment a fine specimen catches light. Tanzanite is celebrated for rich violet blue tones that can shift depending on angle and lighting. Some stones lean royal blue, others reveal flashes of violet, indigo, or soft purple. That pleochroic personality gives the gem a sense of movement and depth that static colors often lack. Beauty alone, however, is only part of the case. Markets pay close attention when desirable products come from a single, meaningful source. Multi-country supply can soften scarcity pressure. Tanzanite does not enjoy that cushion. Its identity is deeply tied to one region, and that creates a different psychological framework for buyers. When supply concerns rise, interest often rises with them. Another quiet force helping Tanzanite is recognition. Unlike many lesser-known gems, the name already carries broad familiarity among jewelry consumers in the United States. That matters because markets move faster when buyers already understand what they are looking at. There is also an accessibility advantage. Compared with certain ultra-rare collector stones, Tanzanite has historically offered striking visual beauty at prices many buyers considered attainable. If premium material tightens while recognition remains strong, that balance can change. Still, nuance matters. Not every Tanzanite is equal. Saturation, cut quality, size, transparency, and treatment disclosure all separate ordinary commercial goods from stones with stronger long-term appeal. As in many categories, quality concentration becomes more important as supply narratives mature. Late 2026 may reward gemstones where desirability meets structural limitation. Tanzanite sits directly in that intersection, admired, recognizable, and constrained by geology rather than marketing slogans. Some opportunities emerge because the public has not noticed yet. Others emerge because everyone notices too late. The next gemstone enters a different battlefield entirely, where buyers began questioning whether an old favorite still deserves its crown. Ranked 6th, Tsavorite garnet, the green stone challenging old habits. Ask many buyers to name the most desirable green gemstone, and the same answer appears almost automatically: emerald. That instinct has shaped jewelry demand for generations. Yet markets often shift when consumers begin asking a more practical question. What if another stone delivers the beauty people want while avoiding some of the compromises they no longer accept? Tsavorite garnet earns the 6th position because it sits directly in that conversation. Discovered in East Africa with notable sources in Kenya and Tanzania, Tsavorite is prized for vivid green color created naturally by trace elements such as vanadium and chromium. Fine stones can show bright, saturated greens that feel fresh, lively, and highly luxurious without looking overly dark or muted. The visual comparison to emerald is obvious. The ownership experience can be very different. Emerald remains iconic, but buyers are increasingly aware of common concerns within that category. Frequent inclusions, sensitivity to impact, oil treatment discussions, and wide quality variation. None of these erase emerald's prestige, but they do create friction for modern consumers seeking confidence and simplicity. Tsavorite enters where friction exists. It is typically untreated, admired for strong brilliance, and offers better everyday toughness than many buyers expect from a green luxury gem. That combination can be powerful in a market where practicality now influences purchasing decisions alongside beauty. Another advantage is rarity without overexposure. Tsavorite is respected among jewelers and enthusiasts, yet still far less saturated in mainstream branding than emerald. Many consumers have heard the word emerald their entire lives. Far fewer have fully explored Tsavorite. That gap between quality and public familiarity can become fertile ground for future price recognition. There is also a design trend quietly working in its favor. Bespoke jewelry buyers increasingly seek stones that feel sophisticated rather than obvious. Wearing Tsavorite often signals taste informed by research rather than default luxury habits. In many markets, that distinction matters. Size also becomes a factor. Larger, clean stones are not abundant, and premium pieces with rich color can command growing attention when demand concentrates. As awareness expands, top material tends to separate from ordinary inventory quickly. Late 2026 could reward gemstones offering beauty, durability, and authenticity in one package. Tsavorite answers all three, while benefiting from inevitable comparison to a more famous rival. Sometimes a market leader remains dominant. Sometimes it accidentally educates buyers for the challenger. The next gemstone rises from an even more intriguing shift where luxury insiders began changing preferences long before the public realized anything had moved at all. Ranked fifth, fine spinel, the luxury market's quiet change of taste. Prestige rarely announces itself when it changes direction. It happens gradually through private purchases, custom commissions, specialist conversations, and subtle shifts in what sophisticated buyers begin requesting behind closed doors. In the gemstone world, one of the clearest examples of that quiet movement has been fine spinel. Spinel takes the fifth position because it may represent one of the most important reevaluation in modern colored stones. For centuries, spinel was misunderstood. Some of history's most celebrated rubies later proved to be spinel, including famous stones mounted in royal collections. That confusion was not accidental. High-quality spinel can display vivid reds, rich pinks, cobalt blues, lavender tones, and striking brilliance that rivals more publicized categories. Today, the misunderstanding has changed form. Instead of being mistaken for other gems, spinel is increasingly chosen on purpose. That distinction matters. Sources such as Myanmar, Sri Lanka, and Tanzania have produced exceptional material, but fine stones with elite color and clarity remain limited. As awareness grows, top examples do not become easier to find. Luxury buyers are also responding to something deeper than rarity: fatigue with predictability. Traditional choices still dominate public perception, but many experienced collectors no longer want what everyone expects. They want stones with pedigree, beauty, and intelligence behind the decision. Fine spinel often signals exactly that kind of taste. It also benefits from a cleaner ownership narrative than some competing categories. Natural beauty, strong hardness for jewelry use, vibrant color options, and increasing gemological respect create a compelling package without relying on heavy marketing mythology. Another quiet advantage is price positioning. In several color ranges, spinel has historically traded below stones it can visually rival or emotionally compete with. Markets do not always correct these imbalances immediately, but once recognition reaches a tipping point, repricing can happen faster than many assume. Auction visibility, boutique jeweler interest, and collector education have all helped move spinel into stronger territory. Yet broader mainstream demand still appears behind specialist enthusiasm. That gap can be where opportunity lives. By late 2026, gemstones favored first by insiders and appreciated later by the wider market may outperform louder names driven mostly by branding. Fine spinel fits that profile with unusual precision. When luxury preferences shift, headlines often arrive last. The next gemstone is not defined by insider subtlety at all. It captures attention instantly through a color combination so rare that many viewers assume it cannot exist naturally. Ranked fourth, Padparadscha sapphire, the color. Many assume nature couldn't create. Some gemstones earn value through size, others through fame. A rare few earn it the instant they are seen. Padparadscha sapphire reaches the 4th position because it belongs to one of the most emotionally powerful categories in the market. Beauty so unusual that many viewers question whether it could possibly be natural. The name is traditionally linked to a lotus blossom, and the comparison is fitting. Fine Padparadscha stones display a delicate balance of pink and orange that can resemble sunrise, peach blossom, warm salmon, or the final glow of evening light. Too pink and the identity changes, too orange and the magic weakens. The finest examples exist in a narrow visual window that is both difficult to define and even harder to find. That balance is exactly why serious buyers pay attention. Unlike colors with broad ranges, Padparadscha depends on harmony. It asks for precision from nature, not just intensity. Markets often reward categories where the most desirable material cannot be mass-produced simply by mining more volume. Historic sources such as Sri Lanka remain especially respected, while other origins have also produced material. Yet regardless of source, top stones with attractive hue balance, transparency, cut quality, and meaningful size remain scarce. Another force supporting demand is emotional universality. Deep technical knowledge is not required to appreciate Padparadscha. Many gemstones need explanation before admiration. This one often creates an immediate reaction. Even viewers unfamiliar with gemology can sense that the color feels different from ordinary jewelry store offerings. That instant appeal matters in modern luxury markets. Buyers increasingly seek stones that feel personal, artistic, and expressive rather than purely conventional. Padparadscha satisfies all three while still belonging to the sapphire family, a name associated with durability and long-term trust. There is also a practical layer beneath the romance. As more consumers learn the difference between common commercial sapphires and rare collector-grade subcategories, demand can concentrate quickly around recognized standouts. Padparadscha benefits from already being one of the most talked about niche sapphire varieties among informed buyers. Yet broader public awareness remains relatively modest compared with mainstream blue sapphire demand. That disconnect can create surprising room for future appreciation. By late 2026, gemstones combining rarity, wearability, and immediate emotional attraction may command stronger premiums than many expect. Padparadscha sits squarely in that territory, rare enough for collectors, beautiful enough for anyone. The next stone leaves softness behind entirely and enters a category whose glow appears almost electrical, as if light were trapped inside the crystal itself. Ranked 3rd, Paraiba, tourmaline, the glow that changed an entire market. There are moments when a single discovery forces the gemstone world to rethink what is possible. Paraiba tourmaline claims the 3rd position because few stones have disrupted modern colored gem markets as dramatically. Before its arrival, many buyers believed blue-green gemstones had already shown their full range. Then a crystal appeared with colors so vivid it seemed illuminated from within. First brought to attention from the state of Paraiba in the late 20th century, this variety became famous for neon blue, electric turquoise, seafoam green, and glowing lagoon tones caused by copper-bearing chemistry. Fine stones can look less like traditional mineral color and more like concentrated light. That visual identity matters enormously. Luxury markets reward categories that are instantly recognizable. A viewer may not know gemology, but one glance at a fine Paraiba often creates immediate curiosity. It does not blend into ordinary jewelry displays. It separates itself instantly. Scarcity only strengthens that effect. Original Brazilian material remains especially prized, and fine stones from any source are not abundant in top quality. As size increases, clean, vivid examples become dramatically rarer. In gemstone markets, rarity becomes more powerful when paired with strong visual distinction. Paraiba possesses both. Another advantage is emotional modernity. Some gems feel rooted in old traditions. Paraiba feels contemporary, energetic, and bold. It appeals not only to traditional collectors, but also to buyers who want something premium without repeating familiar luxury signals. That broadens demand beyond a single generation or taste group. Auction visibility and designer adoption have also elevated the category. High-end jewelers value stones that create instant centerpiece energy, and Paraiba delivers that naturally. It can dominate a design without needing extreme size. Yet despite strong recognition among enthusiasts, many casual buyers still underestimate how rare elite material has become. Some assume bright, modern-looking stones must be plentiful or easily replaced. The opposite is often true. When markets misunderstand scarcity, pricing gaps can persist longer than expected. By late 2026, gemstones with unmistakable identity and constrained supply may remain among the strongest categories to watch. Paraiba, tourmaline already commands respect, but the finest tiers may still be undervalued relative to how difficult they are to secure. Certain stones become valuable because tradition says so. Others become valuable because anyone who sees them understands immediately. Only 2 entries remain, and the next one behaves less like a gemstone and more like a magic trick performed by nature itself. Ranked second, Alexandrite, the stone that refuses to stay one color. Daylight can tell one story, evening light can tell another. Alexandrite earns the second position because it delivers one of the rarest combinations in the gemstone world: genuine scarcity, paired with an effect so dramatic that even non-collectors remember it instantly. In sunlight or cool white light, a fine stone may appear green, bluish green, or teal. Under warmer indoor lighting, that same gem can shift into red, purplish red, or raspberry tones. Many gemstones are admired for color. Alexandrite is admired for transformation. That distinction gives it unusual market power. Buyers often respond most strongly to stones they can demonstrate, explain, and experience repeatedly. Alexandrite creates its own conversation every time lighting changes. It does not require a sales pitch. The gem performs on its own. Originally discovered in Russia during the 19th century and later found in additional locations such as Brazil and Sri Lanka, Alexandrite has never become an abundant mainstream category. Fine stones showing strong color change, attractive clarity, and meaningful size remain notably scarce. That scarcity becomes more severe at higher quality levels. Many commercial examples show only partial shifts or muted body color. Truly impressive stones, those with clear daytime beauty and convincing evening transformation, exist in a much narrower tier. As education improves, buyers increasingly separate ordinary material from elite material, and premium examples can pull away sharply. Another factor supporting demand is trust. Unlike short-lived trends, Alexandrite has fascinated collectors for generations. It combines scientific intrigue, natural rarity, and visual drama without relying on marketing mythology or celebrity endorsement. It also bridges multiple buyer types. Traditional collectors appreciate pedigree. Jewelry buyers appreciate uniqueness. Newer audiences appreciate interactive beauty in a world dominated by screens and static images. Alexandrite speaks to all 3 groups at once. Despite that strength, many casual observers still underestimate how difficult fine Alexandrite is to source. The name is famous enough to be known, but the best stones remain unfamiliar to most consumers. That gap between reputation and real availability can preserve undervaluation longer than logic suggests. By late 2026, categories that unite rarity with unforgettable experience may command stronger premiums than expected. Alexandrite belongs firmly in that class. Some gems impress once. This one keeps changing its mind. Only one final entry remains, and it does not rely on spectacle at all. Its strength comes from something markets have rewarded for centuries: quiet confidence. In first place, untreated sapphire, the market's quiet favorite, still hiding in plain sight. Noise attracts attention. Consistency builds wealth. Untreated sapphire takes the #1 position because markets repeatedly reward assets that combine beauty, trust, durability, and long-term desirability. While trend-driven categories rise and fall in cycles, fine natural sapphires with no heat treatment or significant enhancement have maintained a different kind of status: steady, respected, and quietly powerful. That strength is often underestimated precisely because it does not need to shout. Sapphire is already one of the world's most recognized gemstone families, yet untreated material occupies a far more exclusive tier than many buyers realize. In commercial jewelry, treated stones are common and widely accepted. Truly fine sapphires that present attractive color, strong clarity, excellent cut, and natural condition without heat are a different conversation entirely. And that conversation tends to become more serious each year. Historic sources such as Sri Lanka, Madagascar, Myanmar, and the legacy prestige associated with Kashmir have shaped how collectors view elite sapphire material. But regardless of origin, untreated stones meeting top standards remain limited. Color remains central. Fine blues with richness and life continue to command admiration. But exceptional pink, yellow, Padparadscha type, and other natural sapphire colors also attract growing interest. What unites them is not a single hue, it is rarity combined with confidence in natural state. That confidence matters. Modern buyers are increasingly educated. They ask sharper questions about enhancement, provenance, certification, and long-term value retention. Categories that answer those questions cleanly often strengthen over time. Untreated sapphire does exactly that. There is also a practical advantage few luxury purchases can match. Sapphire offers strong hardness, suitable for daily wear, allowing beauty and durability to coexist. Many high-value objects require caution. Fine sapphire can become part of real life. Another quiet force is generational transfer. Jewelry chosen for milestones, anniversaries, and inheritance often favors categories already trusted by previous buyers. That continuity helps sustain demand beyond trends or temporary fashion cycles. Late 2026 may reward many overlooked gems on this list, but if one category combines collector respect, broad recognition, wearable strength, and premium scarcity most completely, it is untreated sapphire. Some markets chase excitement, others eventually return to quality, and that is why the quietest stone on this countdown may prove to be the strongest of all. Some of the best opportunities are overlooked until it's too late. These 10 gemstones may still be trading below what future demand could justify by late 2026. Which stone deserved number one, and which gem was missing from the list? Leave it in the comments. Subscribe for more rare gemstones, hidden value, and future market trends, because the rarest value is often the last thing people notice.